A true teacher will lead you to your own power, not attempt to impress you with theirs.
Welcome to Agency for Change, a podcast from KidGlov that brings you the stories of change makers who are actively working to improve our communities. In every episode, we'll meet with people who are making a lasting impact in the places we call home.
Hey everyone, this is Lynn Weinman, President and Chief Strategist of KidGlov. Welcome back to another episode of the Agency for Change podcast. I want you to prepare to be inspired today because I think when you listen to this guest, you are going to feel the passion oozing through your speakers. Today, I'm talking with Jay Wilkinson, the founder of the Do More Good movement. He's going to bring us up to date on some of the new and exciting things they have going on with the movement. And he's going to preview the 2025 ROI of Why Conference, the great speaker lineup, what you can expect, key takeaways, and how to buy your tickets. So I can't wait for you all to listen in. Jay, welcome to the podcast.
It is such an honor and pleasure to join you today. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. Jay, when I got up this morning and I saw you were on my calendar, I couldn't wait to talk to you. And I'd love for you to just start by telling us more about the Do More Good movement.
Yeah, I joke occasionally with people that we have this tiny little goal to try to save capitalism.
Yeah, just little.
And what we're doing and what we're working on, we believe will change the way that business works for many, many, many people. And if all we do is create a ripple effect where business leaders understand and also know how to transform the way that they have done business in the past, moving away from a shareholder primacy model where everything is all focused on how much money are we returning to the shareholders or shareholder versus how can we take care of all of the stakeholders that make this business work, our vendor ecosystem, other businesses in our ecosystem. I believe that businesses that don't understand that they need to make that transition will not be around in 5 to 8 years. I think they will go the way of the dinosaur because people who are making decisions about working for companies will want to work for companies that allow them to make a difference with the work that they do. And they won't buy products and services from companies and businesses that they don't believe in or that they know behave in immoral ways or bad ways. So this shift that's happening is gigantic, and so many business leaders just don't know what to do. So our objective with the Do More Good movement is to provide educational resources, giving them the tools and the techniques on how to make that transition.
Wow, Jay, one thing I love about you, you think big, you dream big, and you put your conviction behind those dreams and beliefs and ideas. And I love watching this movement grow because I think you're right. There's so much research and so much indication that now is the time that consumers are watching and employees are watching and businesses are getting outed if they're not authentically doing what they say they're going to do. And I think a statement I hear often is your silence speaks louder than words, where there was a time when it was okay to kind of be quiet, sit back, don't talk about it. That's not business. And now it is business. It's all business, taking care of your employees, taking care of the planet, taking care of your customers, thinking about mental health, thinking about purpose. It's all business, right? And it makes it more fun to be in the arena, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Yeah. So one thing I know you've got coming up is something I'm really excited about. I believe I have my tickets. I just double checked my email for the receipt. But in March, you have your annual ROI of Why Conference. Tell us more about what that's all about.
Yeah, so the ROI of Why has become the flagship event for the work that we do at the Do More Good movement. And it's an opportunity once a year to bring together thought leaders who are like truly inspiring people around the world, around the United States to understand, the what, why, and how of what we just discussed a moment ago. These are the people that are leading the way and that are doing really amazing work, and to pull them together into one place and then bring together lots of like-minded individuals who are interested in not necessarily becoming the best company in the world, but maybe the best company for the world, or at least
Yeah.
the best company for the neighborhood at the very least. Those business leaders and change makers and emerging leaders inside those companies have an opportunity to learn from one another, and just bring them together once a year in a conference format is something that my co-founder and I, Graham Pansing Brooks, have really enjoyed doing from the very beginning.
Shout out to Graham Pansy Brooks, one of my very favorite people as
Yeah.
well. Jay, I've attended the ROI of Why several times. And one thing I've got to say is so much good energy in the room. But one thing that always amazes me is how much good energy is also outside the room. I mean, you have attendees from all over the globe, don't you?
Yeah, that just kind of it manifested really without intention. I'm very connected in a couple of groups. One is called YPO, Young Presidents Organization, and
Yeah.
another is called EO. And there are members, like 100,000 members between those two organizations all over the world. And so when my wife and I travel, we often will find an event that's going on by one of these business groups, and we'll kind of connect in a local chapter somewhere in Spain or Portugal or wherever
Yeah.
we might be. And it's just a beautiful way to connect with like-minded, entrepreneurial-minded people. And because of that network connection, we started posting information about the conference and created a virtual live stream. And I think the thing that really separates, Lynn, this from what I've seen other conferences do, is that our virtual live stream is a big event. We have a live stream
Yeah.
host, so that when the speakers are not on the stage at our conference and the group attending is on break, the live stream host steps in and does an interview, a deeper dive interview with the person that just came off stage. And so actually the people attending virtually from wherever they might be in the world actually have a little bit of an elevated or a different experience than those are in the room. I would say that nothing compares with being face to face with people and the dynamic of human interaction, in person. But having the hosted live stream and the way we do it has really brought a lot of attention to it. Yeah, and we have hundreds of attendees from all around the world that attend via our live stream.
I love that you're so thoughtful about that experience as well, because it's not just putting a camera up in the back of the room. Like, you are really making sure that's a great experience. So the other thing I have, though, is every once in a while, when I'm at one of the great ROI of Why sessions, I will look around and I'll say, this person should be here, and this person I know should be here. So tell us, who would you say the conference is for? Who should they be? Who should be in the room or run virtual?
Yeah.
And what should they expect from the experience?
From the beginning, the work that we have been focused on, Graham and I, in terms of the educational content and the creation of the mindsets of do more good companies and the attributes of do more good leaders that we pulled from the research that we've been conducting for now 6 years. From the beginning, it's been oriented at people in leadership positions in business. So not necessarily founders and owners only, but anyone that's in a position of management or leadership inside of a growing organization who knows that this tide is turning,
Yeah.
and who wants to learn more about how they can help their business, their company, even their division or department within a larger company transform in a way that keeps it out in front of this wave that's coming. We realized a couple conferences in, though, that getting entrepreneurial leaders and the heads of companies to show up at a conference is a very difficult thing.
It's hard, right? Their
Very
schedules,
hard.
but better than anyone. Their
Yeah, yeah.
schedules are full, and things can change at a moment's notice.
And in light of that, we've done a lot of we've kind of after the first couple of years, we kind of widened our focus on emerging leaders inside of these organizations. There's no question that Gen Z and the
Oh, yeah.
millennials now are the largest working bloc in the world. There are more of them in office jobs than any other generation, and across the board, if you talk to a millennial or a Gen Z, there are two things that I think I find fascinating about what their life experience is as it relates to what we're talking about with the Do More Good movement. One is that the vast majority of the representation of business leaders and owners and all of that in media, if you go to Netflix and across all media properties and you watch movies and entertainment and see how business leaders are portrayed, more than 80% of them are portrayed in a negative light.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're mean, they cheat, they steal, that they don't care about you,
Since
whatever.
we're talking in December, you've got to think about Mr. Potter behind his desk in It's a Wonderful Life, right?
Absolutely. That's the
Yeah.
prime example. Yeah. But that's the image that this whole generation of people have, growing up, that business is bad, it's evil. It's no wonder why so many still, think that capitalism is the problem. Graham and I, and at the Do More Good movement, we believe in, first of all, we believe in a dynamic free market capitalistic economy. And we believe it's the answer, though, that it's not the problem to the things that are ailing business and families across the world. But it's the right kind of capitalism. It's the kind of, we often refer to it as Main Street capitalism here in
Yeah.
Nebraska. It's the kind where businesses support
Yes.
all of the community and the people that are connected to that organization. And if business is done right and run in the right way, it can be wildly profitable.
Yes.
And there's lots of studies that show that it makes sense to do that. But it's also the right thing to do. It's just the right way to be. And I believe that capitalism done right will be what saves the world, and rather than what continues to pummel away at it.
I love
So
that.
there's that side, that whole generation has this negative implication. And not all of them, clearly. There are many that have figured out that a lot of that media is just
But
storytelling.
It's understandable
It's
why they've
understandable
come to this
why
conclusion.
so many feel that. Yes,
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
understandable. But then we also know that the way that they lead and manage and hold people accountable, if you look at a millennial or a Gen Z, they take into consideration, studies have shown dramatically how different that generation is wired to take into consideration the humanness of the people that report up to them, the whole human.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, we live, we work, we play. There's this whole thing that used to be talked about all the time of work-life balance, and
Yeah.
it's never really connected with me because it's all life. Everything's
It's
life. The
all
things we do,
life. Yeah.
they're all life. So, and I think I think we're coming into an era when that is going to be more pronounced. I think people will be treated better by companies and the leaders within those companies, because if they don't, the
Yeah.
companies will not survive. They just
Right.
simply will not survive. We live in glass houses. All of us do now. So we can't say one thing and be another.
Absolutely. I think the pressure for doing good is coming from both sides. It's coming from your employees and it's coming from your consumers. Regardless of what type of business you are in, it's coming from both sides, which is ultimately a good thing. Sometimes that's what you need to make the kind of monumental shift that I think you're talking about with this movement. So I'm dying to know, what's in the lineup for the conference? What are the topics we should be looking forward to? What are some of the speakers we should be looking forward to? Can you share any insights, or is it all still top secret?
Well, it's certainly not top secret. We have just some amazing humans that are coming to share their experience and wisdom with us. I'll start with one of my favorites. My favorite all the time is when I'm engaged in interacting with someone who's sharing stories of things that they have done or achieved, and the way that they put things together. I learn so much more out of that whole Gestalt theory of learning where people share their experience and I can soak up what I want from it rather than someone standing on a stage to tell you should do this, you should do that,
Yeah.
you should
The
do this.
finger wag. We don't need
The
the
finger
finger
wag. We
wag.
don't need the
Yeah.
finger wag.
Yeah.
And so to that end, we have some amazing practitioners and people that have walked the talk, and they are doing amazing things. And at the top of that list in this upcoming conference is someone who's become a dear friend, Miran Oka. She runs an aquatic school in Miami. They are a certified B Corporation and also 1% for the Planet company. And just the amount of time, effort, and then discipline that they put into making sure that they are being a stalwart example of how to run a company. Aaron
Absolutely.
is gonna share some from the heart and from the street, some actual examples of what it takes to build a company like that.
I have to just interject because people can't see me if they're just listening to the podcast, but I'm smiling ear to ear because I've gotten to know Mirren over the past year, and she is one of the most generous and yet successful people I know. I mean, I think she is proof that this whole idea of purpose-driven capitalism is a model for success. So kudos to you for bringing her in. I can't wait to hear her speak. She's going to be fabulous.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And many more. We're doing a new format this year where we're doing some short form, where we're having several people come onto the stage for just 3 to 5 minutes and share some straight from the last year, some things that have
Yeah.
happened or that they've done or decisions they've made that have changed their business in some way. And I think people are going to walk away with a lot of really great ideas.
Yeah, what a great that sounds awesome. A lot of tidbits, a lot of different experiences. That sounds awesome, Jay. Fantastic.
And staying with the Miami connection here, the next person I'll mention is Mercedes Martin.
Mhm.
Mercedes is a fascinating human. I've really gotten to know her well over the last year, and she just blows my mind. Mercedes was born in Cuba. Came over to Miami as a young girl, just a few years old, and spent her entire life there. And then I just love this human part of Mercedes. About 4 months ago, her husband was running the Chamber of Commerce in West Palm Beach, Florida, and he got an offer to go run a Chamber of Commerce in like a remote place in Alaska.
Oh,
So
wow.
think of these people that have spent their entire life in Miami, where it's just beautiful and sunny and warm all year long. And they uproot and they move to Alaska just before the winter time.
Oh my goodness.
Thing.
Brave souls.
I admire her moxie so much. And on top of that, she's a brilliant thought leader across this space. She's been training leaders in Fortune 5,000 companies for a long time, for over 30 years, and runs leadership programs, really training people how to elevate into this position of purpose. And we connected about a year ago, and we're working on some concurrent educational opportunities to take some of the curriculum that we've been developing through the Do More Good movement, and working directly with Mercedes to put together our first cohort, which we'll be announcing at the ROI of Why Conference in March.
Nice.
Of our first cohort, who will commence from the leadership journey 3 months later. It's a 3-month program where they'll have access to the thought leaders across the Do More Good universe, which will be really amazing. I'm excited to announce that at the conference and for everyone to meet Mercedes and to really glean from some of her incredible lessons.
I can't wait. And coming from Alaska to Nebraska in March, she'll just feel like she's in the tropics again.
She's going to be in short sleeves. Yeah. Another person that I'm really excited to have at the conference is JD Messenger. He spoke at the ROI of Why a few years ago.
Absolutely, yeah.
JD has taken on a more pronounced role in the work that we do. He became so excited by our mission and our purpose when he came and spoke at our conference for the first time 2 years ago. That we've been plugging in, and we've been conspiring on ways expand, do more good to more of the world. And we have some really exciting things that, again, we'll be announcing at the conference. But JD is, he was the former CEO of Ernst and Young of all of Asia, and just had all these amazing career paths, including hosting a radio program and a television program around purpose-driven business in Singapore.
Wow.
He's got just a ton of background and experience, and his messages are just so inspiring about how, again, what JD does as much as anyone is he infuses, again, I'll go back to that word, the humanness, the whole person into everything. It's not about all tactics and planning and vision. You have to instill some inspiration that is rooted in human kindness and empathy, and that's what JD is a master of.
I love that. Jay, I just got to say, I'm so glad that empathy has become a word in the realm of business that people really look forward to and see as complimentary. I feel like 30 years ago, when I got into business, maybe a little more than 30 years ago, I feel like if I said empathy was a strength of mine, people would have gone, right? But I love
Absolutely.
that more and more as you talk to people, they're really, celebrating
Yeah.
empathy as part of leadership. And I think that's really cool. And I appreciate anything you're doing to help push that forward.
So on that note, I'll point out, so we've done more than 3,000 interviews with purpose-driven leaders across America, and so these are companies that are listed on someone's best places to work list. And we connect with their leadership, and we ask them a lot of questions, like, why are you on this list? Is what we want to find out. And if we did a word cloud of all the words that come up, and which is essentially what we did is we extracted from all the research the 5 formative attributes of a do more good leader. Empathy is one of those, and it was the second highest on the list in terms of words that people would say when they're talking about what skills or what attributes their leaders have that make them stand out. I find that just beautiful and amazing that in 2024, almost 2025, we're at a place where, and the other words are vulnerability, gratitude, kindness, and love. Love was the number 1 word on the list. Every like, we love our employees, we love the work we do, we love our company, we love the products, we love our vendors. So love comes up all the time. I just love the attribute of love as a business word.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. I hope I get to see that word cloud someday, because that's amazing. And I love hearing the source for those words, right? Like, sometimes I think what's going to turn the tide in a broad way is just really celebrating these leaders that are making such a big difference in such a big way, and pairing it with this focus on purpose. So that is fantastic.
And speaking of that, Robert Blackwell Jr., the next speaker I want to just highlight real quickly.
Wow.
When Barack Obama ran for office for the very first time in Chicago, he was running as a community organizer for this local position. The person's house that he went to hold a fundraiser was Robert Blackwell Jr. So Robert and Barack Obama were very, very tight back in the day. Robert is someone I met several years ago after the horrible events that happened in Minnesota with George Floyd. And Robert came to Lincoln to speak to mostly white business owners and leaders to try to help shed some light on.
Somehow I was lucky enough to have an invitation to that event. And since it was COVID, I think we were mostly all virtual.
It was in COVID, yes.
But it was so enlightening, because so many of us at that time were just like, I don't know what to do, which is a weird place to be. I don't know what to do. And he was so fantastic. And you hosting that forum was so authentically helpul. It was fantastic. So that's great.
So
Robert's coming back. Yeah.
Robert will be here. This is his first ROI of Why Conference. And we've been trying to get him back for each of them, but he's in such high demand as a speaker everywhere he goes. It was hard to pin him down. And I'll just name 2 more real quick. And these are the 2 biggest names that are coming into our stage. One is Christopher Marquis. Christopher is a social entrepreneurship champion from Cambridge. He came out of Harvard and now is on the faculty at Cambridge. He wrote a book on the benefits of becoming a certified B Corporation and is doing as much research as anyone that I've been introduced to in the last few years around this whole space. And so he just has a depth of knowledge and understanding about all the different parts of this space that are changing. Cool. And then the last name, Rand Stegan, is one of our founding board members. As I've shared with you before, and for those that are hearing this for the first time, the Do More Good movement, our 4 founding board members. One is Kate Williams, who's the CEO of 1% for the Planet.
Yeah.
One is Jay Cohen Gilbert, who is the founder of B Labs, the organization that underwrites certified B corporations. The third is Preeta Bansal. Preeta was President Obama's chief legal counsel, and it was her team that was responsible for the drafting of the very first benefit corporation legislation that is now passed.
She's an amazing human.
Yeah. Amazing human.
Yeah.
And then the fourth, Rand Stegan. Rand is the one, if you talk to John Mackey, who's widely attributed as the founder of conscious capitalism, and he's the one that Rand, if you talk to John, he'll tell you that Rand wouldn't shut up. He was in my ear for 10 years that I needed to do something about this. And so Rand is one of the co-founders of conscious capitalism, and in fact, the one that inspired John to finally get, kind of off of his someday statements and do something about it. And so Rand is an amazing soul and a thought leader that he's I would say among all the mentors that I have in business, Rand is the one that has probably given me and guided me the most. I'm just so excited for our audience to have an opportunity to hear from him directly. Just a brilliant human who just oozes credibility, empathy, vulnerability, speaks from the soul, and just really understands how to get to the essence of what matters in business. And so I'm excited for all of these speakers, and there are many more. There are many more on top of these that I've mentioned.
I love it. So I wrote down on my list Mirren, Mercedes, JD, Robert, Christopher, Rand, plus all the people who are going to kind of come and share short flashes of experiences, the cohort, everything else. This next question is going to seem silly, Jay, but what would you say to somebody who's thinking about attending, but they haven't got their tickets yet?
Well, we have a great price point this year. Please consider joining us. If you have 3 or more from your organization, it knocks the price down to $199 per person. Our ticket price is $349, and it knocks it down to $199 per person when you register 3 or more. So that's what we recommend. This year, we're doing a 2-day event. The last couple have been just a 1-day conference.
I wondered how you were going to get all of those speakers into 1 day. In my head, I'm calculating it and going, that's going to be a pretty fast transition. 2 days.
2 days. It's going to begin at noon on the 5th, so people can travel in if they need to, and conclude at 5-ish p.m. on the 6th. One of the things that we're doing differently this year, too, is we're having some longer form workshops on day 1. We're going to be announcing those in 2 weeks from today. We're in the final stages of shoring those up. We have some really great content because I know when I go to a conference or an event, I typically will get more out of it when I have an opportunity to immerse in a deep workshop of some sort that is around a topic or an issue that is really resonating with me at the time. And we have some great sessions that we're planning that, including for those that are aware of the Do More Good movement and the ROI of Why. Last year we had an incredible speaker who came in and talked to us about the importance of leaning in to being naive.
I know who you're talking about. My friend Josh Berry.
Joshua Berry is he's such an enigmatic presenter and speaker. He's doing a full-length workshop for us on how to be naive and with workshop capabilities. And we have Molly Koch, who's a professional trainer around understanding the 5 dysfunctions of a team with Patrick Lencioni, which is amazing work.
One of my favorite authors, Patrick Lencioni. Yep.
And so we have
And
some
Molly will
really
do a great job with that.
we have some great sessions that we have on par for that first day as well.
That's
So
great.
come and
That's
learn.
great.
Let me just say this too. We're not going to talk about churn rates or burn rates or crushing the competition or what is your MVP or pitch decks or
I'm
pro
not going to have
rata
to
or
talk
raising
about my
capital.
EBITDA or any of
None
that.
of that.
None of that. All
We're going to talk
right.
about abundance and cause and culture and community and
Cool.
the attributes of do more good leaders, kindness, empathy, vulnerability, love, those things.
Awesome.
That's what we're going to be talking
I
about.
can just feel your passion radiating through the screen, Jay. So people who want to get those tickets, where do they go? And where do they just
DoMoreGood.com.
domoregood.com? Can't be any easier than that. And we'll get
Cannot
that
be any
link
easier.
in the show notes. So just kind of to wrap a bow around this, what's one big takeaway someone can expect from the conference?
I think so. One of the biggest things in my life and that I've been focused on and that I think it very directly ties to what I think others will get from this conference is the more AI continues to propagate and the more nervousness that kind of brings into the lives of people and the more we continue to see this rising trend towards again glass houses and putting purpose into business and all of the things, the more convinced I am that we as humans just need to just drop into this mindset of a learner instead of the mindset of a knower.
Yeah.
I will say I can say now because I passed it. There was a phase and a good phase in my life when I operated as a knower. I reveled in figuring things out and then sounding or looking important or like I knew something that someone else didn't. And ever since I gave up on that and just started to just feel into just being a learner and just being curious
Yeah.
and open and ready and accepting. And so if you come to this conference, I can promise you that you will have an opportunity to elevate your game in what it means to be a knower or in what it means to be a learner
A
as opposed to
learner.
a
I
knower.
love it. Sounds perfect, Jay. I'm a recovering controller that's just working on
Oh
being
yes.
more present and in the flow, right? More of a surfer. Yeah. Yeah. It makes life so much more wonderful, right? Wonderful.
Yes.
All right. So I want to bring this full circle. We started by talking about the movement. Then we went into the conference. We talked a lot about the conference, so much exciting stuff. But what else is on the horizon just for the Do More Good movement? Because I want to make sure we reiterate this isn't just a conference. This conference is part of a larger
Yeah.
movement.
The thing I'm most excited about right now are is the curriculum that we're working on. We have professional educators, partners like Mercedes and
Yeah.
others, which we'll be announcing others at the conference that I'm really excited about. We've been focused so much in the last 6-7 years since Graham and I had the idea to really start doing this work. We've been focused so much on content and just kind of coming up with taking all of these research projects. But now we're going to stop continuing doing all these interviews and research, and we're going to start taking this and creating actionable steps around how you can take what we've learned from these 3,000 interviews and learn how to become a do more good leader ourselves, and what it takes and what it doesn't take.
Amazing.
So I'm really excited about the educational alignment, partnerships, relationships that we have coming up. And we'll be announcing several of them at the conference. But in the next 2 years, it's going to expand so dramatically that it's going to be hard for us to kind of hold on to. And that's a good thing because we're
Yeah.
ready to release it out into the world and let it really start to make its own wings and
Cool.
really fly. There's a lot coming around taking the education and creating some really great learning cohorts out of it, et cetera.
Neat. You are ready to release it. I think a lot of us are ready to receive it, Jay. So perfect. Perfect. Hey, I can't wait to ask you this next question. It's my favorite. I've asked it on over 200 podcasts. I've asked it of you once before. You've been on this hot seat. But Jay, everybody who listens to the Agency for Change knows that I love motivational quotes. I feel so lucky to get to talk to inspiring people like you. Most of the people I talk to are so humble that unless I put them on the hot seat, they'll say, "Oh, I don't have anything to say," but I know you do. So can you give us a quote to inspire our audience?
So I'm gonna say something that reflects back on what I just talked about with the learner versus.
Perfect.
So here's what's coming to mind for me, and that is that a true teacher will lead you to your own power, not attempt to impress you with theirs.
Wow. All right. A true teacher will
Will
lead you
lead
to,
you to your own power,
I love it.
not attempt to impress you with theirs.
So good. Wow, that is so good. Jay, as we wrap up this great conversation today, what is the most important thing you would like our listeners to remember about the work that you're doing?
You know what? What comes to mind instantly for me when you say that is for them to remember to stay focused on the work that they believe in and that they're doing, because that's what elevates the world for all of us side by side. If we're all focused and really, really, if we care deeply about the work that we're doing and how it is elevating the people around us, I mean, imagine if everybody just stayed focused on that. We can be anything and accomplish anything. And so I'm not worried about what's happening with AI. I believe it's going to change the world for the better.
I think so too. It's going to take care of the things that we need to get done so that we can be more human. That's what I believe, Jay. So
human beings, not human doings.
amen. Amen. I have so loved this conversation. And I just have to say, Jay, and I mean this sincerely, I believe the world needs more people like you, more initiatives like the Do More Good movement. I can't wait for the ROI of Why Conference. And anybody out there who doesn't have their tickets, I'm going to encourage you to go online and get them. We'll have the link in the show notes. Jay, thanks again for joining me.
Thank you, Lynn. I love and adore you.
We hope you enjoyed today's Agency for Change podcast. To hear all our interviews with those who are making a positive change in our communities, or to nominate a changemaker you'd love to hear from, visit KidGlov.com at KIDGLOV.com to get in touch. As always, if you like what you've heard today, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.